Hello guys, it's Melissa and welcome to another speed build, and specifically it's another Snowy Escape themed speed build because I am absolutely obsessed with the build by items that we got in this pack. I just love them. I think they're really pretty and I know that I'm just going to use them to death. I've already built a house with a lot of the Snowy Escape items that we got. But a lot of the items that came with that pack are very neutral in colours, so lots of sort of whites and blacks and light wood colours. So when I did my first build, I wanted to kind of keep that colour theme going. So it was a very neutral coloured house, which I did mention at the time, but very different to how I usually build. I'm usually someone that absolutely loves building with colour and sort of bold patterns and things, so it was a bit of a struggle. I had to kind of restrain myself, and I thought I really want to do a build that has lots of colour but also uses a lot of the Snowy Escape items, which is basically what this build is, because the items that we got, as I said, very neutral in colour, so it's quite nice to kind of pair them with sort of brightly coloured wallpapers or furniture items. It kind of tones it down and stops it being too bold and colourful and kind of ugly in that way, but it's kind of like a nice middle ground between super colourful versus completely neutral, lots of sort of white and black. I like both looks, to be honest, but like I said, this is kind of a middle ground and I was super happy with how it turned out. I used especially a lot of yellows and blues and greens, which, as I said, work quite well with the whites and blacks and light woods of the Snowy Escape items. And the house is also quite modern in style, which is probably my favourite style to build in. I think it looks really nice. Personally, the way I always make modern houses is just to, when I'm doing the exterior, I just do lots of sort of bump outs, and then when using like wallpapers and colours and stuff on the outside, just do a mix of different colours, a mix of different textures. That's usually what I'll do. So I'll do like a white brick on one section of the exterior and then a sort of bright colour on the outside. So for this one, I think I did yellow and black and white on the outside of this house and it looked really nice. The only downside is probably the thing that I am worst at when it comes to building is roofing. And when you do like a weird sort of structure with lots of bump outs and things like that, yeah, roofing's kind of difficult, but once you get it, it looks really cool. And then I just started off with the landscaping, which is the other thing that I'm not so good at when it comes to building. I don't know, I just really struggle with landscaping, so I wanted to kind of keep it a little bit minimal for this build. And in fact, the whole build is kind of minimal, let's say more minimal than I usually do. It's not exactly a minimalist house. There's definitely decoration and clutter, and you know, it's not exactly simple with like very few items, but it's also not quite as decorated as I usually go for. Because it's quite, you know, busy with lots of colors, I didn't want to add like tons of clutter items and tons of decoration on top of that. So yeah, it's a bit more simple than I usually do. And then just going on to the floor plan, I did this house as 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. So there is a master bedroom for 2 parents and then a kids bedroom with 2 kids beds. And funny enough, I can't remember the name of the family that lives in this house, but I did not build with them in mind at all. I didn't sort of check their personality or the family structure or anything like that. I just kind of dived in, demolished their house and built over it, but I didn't realize until after I'd finished that actually it is a family of 2 parents and 2 kids, so they would definitely be right at home here. And they don't really have super distinct personalities. Like, I don't think any of them have traits that correspond with a very specific skill. So yeah, I think that they would work quite well living in this house. And if you do want to download it and play with it yourself, it is on the gallery. My origin ID is MellyJ1996 and it's always written in the description down below. Yeah, and if you do like this build and if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. That would be really appreciated. I would absolutely love you. But yeah, just furnishing the house now, and I wanted to use this as another opportunity to experiment with platforms. So I did use platforms in the first house. I did kind of the kitchen on one level, and then the dining room on a level above that. And then in the last build that I did, it was 60s theme, so not kind of specifically Snowy Escape. I just kind of wanted to experiment with platforms, and I did the living room at like a lower level. I mean, you can see that on my channel. I will put it in the little eye in the corner, but yeah, that was a lot of fun, and I wanted to kind of use this house as another opportunity to experiment with platforms. So I did the living room, as you can see. I think it's either 1 or 2 steps above the rest of the house. I did use stairs for it anyway. And then you'll see the kids' room right at the end that also used platforms, because as I said, I did make that for 2 kids, so the 2 kids' beds are actually on different levels. I've seen a lot of people use the platforms to make bunk beds, and I wasn't quite ready to attempt that myself just yet, but I did think it would look really cool to have them on different levels. And it was definitely a challenge because I don't know, there's just a lot of restrictions with Sims when it comes to like routing and things that Sims can or cannot access. I find that's often a struggle when I build. I place items, and to me they look, you know, fine. They look like you can access them easily, but Sims for whatever reason can't get there. And also, side note, I know the latest patch update had a note that it's fixed the routing for Sims, in that they supposedly will no longer wash their dishes in the bathroom sink, but that definitely hasn't been fixed for me. In fact, my Sim wash their dishes in the upstairs bathroom sink, so it's actually got a little bit worse. But yeah, that's just a side note. I don't know if that's anybody else, but that's definitely not been fixed for me. But even regardless, I did decide to put a sink in the kitchen, even if they probably won't use it. And the kitchen was really, really fun to do. As I said, I didn't really put as many decorations as I usually do, so I didn't spend too much time worrying about cluttering up the bottom of the cabinets. But as I said, there's very bright colours in terms of the appliances and stuff, so I didn't want to make it even busier by just absolutely filling it up with different kinds of decorations. But yeah, I am happy with it, with how it turned out, and I think it's, as I said, a nice sort of balance between bold and colourful, but also kind of simplistic. This is definitely, I say this with every build, but it's true, it's definitely a place that I would love to live personally. I really like it. I really like the look of it, and it was definitely fun to furnish. My last build was like a 60s themed build, and it took me hours and hours and hours. But yeah, this one, as I said, just came together really easily. And I wanted to kind of do a bit more of a luxurious feel, you could say, to this apartment. I mean, I used the tall wall height, which I know a lot of people don't really like building with, and I don't mind, but what I really have a problem with is the fact that I believe there's only 4 doors that are for a tall wall height, and medium doors work okay with the tall wall height, but I mean, it would be nice to have a lot more of a selection. Even windows as well, we're just really limited. I wish we had more medium and tall doors and windows, because if you use anything else, it looks a bit ridiculous. Because I found these doors from the Snowy Escape pack. They're kind of, I don't know how to describe them. I think there is a name for them, but I don't know what it is. But they're kind of open. I think they're supposed to get the look of sliding doors, I think. I did want a kind of archway, so I had these kind of open Snowy Escape doors, but it was only for a small wall height, and it looked absolutely ridiculous with the tall wall height. So I just ended up replacing them with those really tall archways that you saw me place, and I really loved the effect of kind of standing in the entryway and you can look straight out into the kitchen and the dining room and the hallway, and see all the blues and yellows and greens and all the colours and things. I thought that was really nice. You'll see in the screenshots at the end, you kind of like see right through to the end of the house, which is kind of nice. And I also, when it comes to building, love doing like open plan, so I kind of did that with the kitchen and dining room. That's what you know, walk straight into. So, and even the living room, I haven't sort of closed it off with a door. It makes things feel a bit more spacious. I like doing that, especially as it's not exactly a tiny home, but it's also not the biggest home, so I thought it was quite nice to create a bit more space in that way. And then in terms of skill building objects, as I said, the family that lives here doesn't really have any specific skills. I don't know what jobs they have. They might have jobs. I don't know. I haven't really played them, but yeah, I wanted to do someone who knits. I haven't really played around with knitting a lot, so I thought that'd be quite fun to put a little rocking chair there. And then I think that's pretty much it. I did also put a computer as well, so I mean there's definitely room to put more items if you did want to do that. But I don't know why, but I really wanted to do like a nice sort of open big outdoor space for this build, which is what I've just got outside. I don't know, it felt a bit weird because I was obviously building in Mount Komorebi, and the idea that's, you know, snowboarding and skiing and sort of snowy mountains, but the rest of the world does actually experience weather in the same way as every other world, so you definitely can get sun in Mount Komorebi. I don't know the name of the neighborhood that this was built in. That's really awful, but it's kind of the middle neighborhood, so it's not the one at the bottom of the map, it's not the one at the top, it's in the middle, so it definitely does experience weather. So I decided to have a little, like a nice little outdoor seating area for the Sims to sit in. And yeah, that is just the parents' room now and the kids' room. And as I said, kids' room was a big struggle with the platforms because it's not the biggest room. So once you put down platforms and you put down stairs, it's, I don't know, it's difficult to put anything else down. So I sort of fit the beds in these tight little spaces, and I wanted to also do what I thought was kind of important for this build is kind of neutral colours, so lots of purple and green in this bedroom. I didn't want to do, because I said in my last build I've done a few like girls' rooms that are really pink and princessy, so I wanted to do just very neutral sort of furniture for this one. And I didn't really think of much of a personality for the kids except animals and void critters, so I tried to put a lot of sort of animal themed and void critter themed furniture. Maybe they want to be a vet, or maybe they really want to get a pet. I'm not quite sure. I didn't put any sort of pet bowls or anything like that in the build, but maybe, I don't know, the kids could persuade the parents to get a pet because they really like animals and they really like void critters. And I actually had a lot of trouble trying to fit the void critter game in their room, so I did kind of off camera rearrange the kids' bedroom because it just wasn't working for me. I wasn't really liking it, but I was quite happy with how it turned out in the end, and that's pretty much the end of the build. Just going on to the screenshots now, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, as I said, I would really appreciate if you gave this video a like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any feedback or suggestions, let me know. But until my next video, bye!